Hey everybody, it's Spear here, and we're back with another Digimon Archetype 101. Today we're going to be covering the purple archetype, specifically purple Piedmon. Now, something I want to note is that I understand Digimon doesn't have hard archetypes. While it doesn't fall strictly into the whole sense of Archetype 101, I think it's still important to understand that a lot of decks fall under trying to do a similar type of strategy or doing a specific type of thing. So while it's a bit broader, I still think encompassing it in the idea that this is what these colors try and do, this is what this set of cards try and do, really brings together the idea of people trying to understand decks and ultimately archetypes. So while they're not super strict, I still think it's important to give this look ahead as to how the decks and the strategies come together and work together. Specifically though, if you like messing with your trash and essentially using your trash as a second hand, this strategy is for you. But before we get started, I will be playing in another Digimon tournament this coming Sunday. So if you guys want to catch me playing on that live, then go ahead and follow me on Twitch. The link will be in the description down below. With that said, let's jump into the archetype. So I gotta start off and this is like a hashtag value deck. Everything about purple is an insane amount of value. And the epitome of that is Piedmon right here. So he has retaliation, which means that you're keeping your board clean with him. He's a 10k, but that's fine because generally you're going to be using him to clear off boards. He's a great comeback card in that he has an on-play effect that you get to play up to 2 level 4 or lower purple Digimon without paying their memory cost from your trash. The on-play effects don't matter, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to set yourself up for a win, you can do this. If you're trying to set yourself up defensively and you've used up your blockers over and over again, one of the things is that realistically, most decks only get access to 4 blockers, and you're not even guaranteed to get them all the time. Purple is one of the few colors that's able to constantly be bringing back those blockers at a rate at which your opponent might not be able to keep up with, and that's where your hashtag value game really goes beyond and you're able to start carrying the matchup forward. So any deck that tries and grind you out really gets hurt by the fact that you're able to constantly reoccur your value and your resources over and over and over again. And the tempo swing you get from being able to drop a Piedmon into 2 blockers or just 2 extra Digimon right away is absolutely massive, especially in the late game when your opponent might just not have all that many cards to work with anymore. The biggest things that we can get with Piedmon, like we've been saying over and over again, is a blocker. Another thing that we can look into is Devimons, or just any, and Devimon's just kind of a fill-in for any level 4, but Devimon especially because let's say you're in a position where you need to start clearing board the next turn, or you want to make sure that you can mitigate anything that's coming your way. Then you have Devimon to be able to make sure that if your opponent's going to start swinging into you, you're going to be able to clear out their board afterwards. So there's a lot of cool, sweet options in purple that really allow you to utilize either board clearing, either setting up for your kill turn, or being able to mitigate for your opponent's offense. Going into filling drop, we have lots of options, tons of options. Here we have level 3 Gabumon that is inheritable. On deletion, you get to draw 2, trash 1. So selectively, you get to draw a bunch of cards. And purple is not only really good at cleaning up their trash, setting up their trash, they're really good at setting up their hand, because the way you go through setting up your trash is a lot of effects like these where you get to draw and pitch, draw and pitch. So it's a lot of that really great cycle. Then we got Pumpkinmon on deletion. Once again, same thing, draw 2, trash 1. We have Impmon, the premier level 3, where on deletion you get to trash 3 cards, and purple does this really good thing of early on being a rookie rush deck where you don't mind if your guys are crashing into your opponent's side because you want to be able to fill up your drop to be able to go into big plays like Beelzemon, or to start recurring your resources over and over again to out advantage your opponent. Raremon, reveal the top 3 cards. You get to add 1 option card among them to your hand and then trash the remaining cards. This leaning more towards Lilithmon if you want to go that route, to lean on those options and start recurring those. And then on top of this, we're constantly deleting our own things. We're making sure that we trash a bunch of stuff. We have some things that benefit from doing that same thing and allowing us to extend the filling of our drop. So here we have Werewolf. When attacking once per turn, you get to delete 1 other Digimon to unsuspend. So now we have the benefit of having a dual attacker. We have Chimeramon, where you get to delete 1 of your other Digimon to delete 1 of your opponent's level 5 or lower. So this is really strong just on the fact that you can trash your own thing, you get to draw cards, and it doubles as removal. And you have a bunch of cards that allows you to get those level 3s, level 4s back into play, which means that you can constantly recur this type of removal and usage of your Digimon to be able to restand, to clear. Or in the sense of Heat Viper, there's another one where you get to delete 1 of your Digimon to clear out 2 level 4s or lower, which is absolutely massive when you consider that other decks might set up a couple of blockers. With this one card, you can say buy your blockers and then set up for the kill turn right after. Then we got the trash payoffs. These are typically your level 6s that appreciate that. And then we have Lilithmon. Lilithmon is the option variant. If you really like, you know, option control, being able to pay them for cheaper, being able to get them back, she's amazing. A level 6 that when Digivolve, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you get 2 options, put them back to hand. And then on your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card, you gain 2 memory. And one of the really key things I want to note here is that the way that the skill works out in the game, if you use a skill that costs 3, let's say, and you're at 2 memory and you go over your opponent's 1, you actually gain that memory back before it actually ends up going to be your opponent's turn, because you resolve skills fully before you pass off to your opponent, which means that you can cheat out on memory so much. And when we're talking about option cards that cost 1 or 2, you're either netting memory or you're straight up free on it, which is absolutely massive. She's a great card that combos really well with anything that leans on, you know, we're going to keep bringing back our cheap guys, we're going to keep clearing them off with things like Heat Viper and all that, and we're going to win the control grind game. On the other side of the spectrum, we have Beelzemon. If you have 10 or more cards in trash, you can go right from Piedmon into Beelzemon for 4, which is absolutely massive, especially when you consider that he's got a deletion effect, and then you got a big beefy 11k. This being really strong when you combo with Millenniummon. I didn't include as part of the Archetype 101 because he doesn't have a ton of trash synergy, but it's great that trash synergies allow you to turbo into a level 6, which then allows you to turbo into a Millenniummon down the road, which is an absolutely massive tempo swing. Millenniummon is a crazy card to defend yourself against. So when we're looking at ways we can start recurring our trash, not only can we do that with some of our beefy Digimon, but we also have option cards like Night Raid, where you get to play level 3 or lower Digimon without activating its on play effects. This is not only really good at being able to get back cards to be able to do stuff with them, it's free if you have Lilithmon, but it's also great at setting your opponent out 1 for getting a 3 cost on board. So you get this cheap kind of setup. So not only are you recurring your stuff, but you're recurring them for cheaper than they actually cost. On top of that, we have Back for Revenge, where when your Digimon gains on deletion, it essentially revives itself without its on play effects. This combos really well with things like Devilmon, where, you know, he has Vengeance, so we're going to be able to clear the board. He's going to come back and he's going to be able to clear the board again. So while not the most powerful card, because you need 2 cards to really set it up, right? You need a Digimon that you want to recur, and then you have Back for Revenge. But once you have that set up, you can recur your trash really strongly by like double Impmoning, let's say, or you can go ahead and clear board and then have the Devilmon on board sitting there for next turn to keep on clearing after that, or make sure that you still have a target to evolve into going into the later turns. Finally, one of the other purple staples to start recurring your things are Matashita. He has your typical 4-cost Tamer ability, where if your memory is at less than 3, it goes set to 3, and when you play it, you get to return 1 purple Digimon or option card from your trash to your hand. Purple being one of those decks that wants to accrue a ton of value, you are one of the decks that can utilize these cards to their fullest, because all your memory is going to be super efficient. You're going to be able to extend a bunch of plays, and you're going to be able to put your opponent in a bunch of awkward positions based on the option cards that you take back. And in Brisk, that's Purple Piedmon. A super grindy strategy, super annoying. And of course, while Purple can stray away from using things like Piedmon, instead focus more on the Beelzemon line, focus more on the Lilithmon line, I want to use this as more of a focus to understand that this is set 1.0 Purple is effectively doing this, and Piedmon is the epitome of bringing it all together, where you're filling up your trash to be able to play huge things that accrue a ton of value from your trash being set out the way it is. But what do you guys think? How would you guys go and build Purple Piedmon? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. Hey, if you dislike it, thumbs down works too. And you guys want to catch more of my videos, we got gameplay, Archetype 101s, and a bunch of discussion videos coming down the line, then hit the subscribe button. And with that said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Ciao.